Hello dear students, myself CMA Padmaja Buzruk. I will discuss partnership accounts. Go to study note number 6, partnership accounts. I will be discussing dissolution of a partnership firm. Insolvency of a partner. If a partner becomes insolvent and fails to pay his debit balance of capital account either wholly or in part, the unrecoverable portion is a loss to be borne by solvent partners. Prior to the decision in the leading case of Garner versus Murray, this loss was borne by the solvent partners in the profit sharing ratio, just like ordinary losses. So, if a partner becomes insolvent, then his insolvency is to be borne by solvent partners. It is to be borne by solvent partners either as per Garner versus Murray. But before Garner versus Murray case, partners used to solvent partners used to bear this loss in profit sharing ratio. We'll see decision in Garner versus Murray case. Justice Joey held in the case of Garner versus Murray that the loss arising due to insolvency of partner must be distinguished from any ordinary loss, including realization loss. Unless otherwise agreed, the decision in Garner versus Murray requires that the solvent partners should bring in cash equal to their respective share of loss on realization, that the solvent partner should bear the loss arising due to insolvency of partner in the ratio of their last agreed capitals. So, as per Garner versus Murray case, solvent partners should bring in cash an amount equal to their loss on realization, and they should bear the loss of insolvent partner or insolvency of insolvent partner in the ratio of their last agreed capitals. In case of fixed capital system, capitals as per last balance sheet represent last agreed capital. So if fixed capital system is there, then whatever is capital as per last balance sheet, that will be last agreed capital. But in case of fluctuating capital system, all necessary adjustments you are supposed to consider, like reserve, unappropriated profits or losses, but not realization profit or loss, drawings, undisclosed liabilities and assets, etc., must be made to get last agreed capitals. So, in case of fluctuating capital, do all the adjustments, and whatever final balance you will get, that will be the last agreed capital. A partner who has nil or negative balance in his capital account before dissolution does not contribute anything to the loss arising as a result of insolvency of a partner. So only solvent partners are to bear the loss of insolvent partners. Now we'll see illustration 28. A, B and C are in partnership sharing profits and losses equally and agreed to dissolve the firm on 30 June 12. On that date their balance sheet stood as follows. Capital account of A and B 34,000, 24,000, creditors 12,000, sundry assets, profit and loss. See, this is to be distributed to partners in their profit sharing ratio equally. So 12,000 divided by 3, 4,000. Capital account of partners, debit side you will find 2, profit and loss account 4,000. Capital account of C is on the asset side. So C's capital account to balance brought down 8,000, whereas A and B's capital account by balance brought down 34,000 and 24,000 respectively. The assets realized at 50% of book value. Book value is 50,000. They have received 50%, that is 25,000. Realization expenses 5,000. C became insolvent and received 2,000 from his estate. C has become insolvent and he could contribute only 2,000 from his estate. Close the books of firm under fixed capital method and fluctuating capital method applying Garner versus Murray principles. First we'll see realization account, two sundry assets 50,000, realization expenses 5,000. By bank, by selling the assets they have got 25,000. Creditors they have not transferred to realization, directly will show payment to creditors in bank account. So loss is transferred to partners capital account, 30,000 is loss, they are equal partners 10,000, 10,000 and 10,000. Under fixed capital method, deficiency of insolvent partner C must be borne by solvent partners A and B in their last agreed capital. So last agreed capital given in the balance sheet is 34,000 and 24,000. So in case of fixed capital method, insolvency of C will be shared by A and B in the ratio 17 is to 12, because it is 34 is to 24, that is 17 is to 12. Under fluctuating capital method, deficiency of insolvent partner C must be borne by solvent partners A and B as the following adjusted capital, which will be considered as the last agreed capital, that is after adjusting debit balance of profit and loss account. Capital as per balance sheet of A was 34,000 and B was 24,000. Debit balance of profit and loss account 4,000 is to be deducted. 12,000 was profit and loss. It is to be distributed equally 4,000 to A, 4,000 to B and 4,000 to C. So their adjusted capital are 30,000 and 20,000. So as per fluctuating capital method, insolvency of C will be borne by A and B in the ratio 3 is to 2, 30 is to 20 is 3 is to 2. Capital account under fluctuating capital method, by balance brought down A 34,000, B 24,000, C 2 balance brought down 8,000. Realization loss just now we have seen 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. Profit and loss account on the asset side was 12,000. It is to be distributed equally to profit and loss account 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. As per Garner versus Murray, solvent partners should bring in cash their loss equal to realization, which is 10,000 and 10,000. So A is supposed to bring 10,000 in cash, B is supposed to bring 10,000 in cash. Their loss on realization, an amount equal to their loss on realization. So they will bring it in cash. Whereas C is contributing only 2,000 by in C's capital account, by bank 2,000. Now close C's capital account. Debit is 22,000 minus credit 2,000. So his deficiency 20,000 will be borne by A and B in the ratio 17 is to 12 as per fixed capital method. So 20,000 in the ratio 17 is to 12. A's capital account 11,724. Sorry, it is 11,724 and B's capital account 8276. You will find it on the debit side of A's capital account 11,724, B's capital account 8276. Now close A's and B's capital account, transfer it to bank because your bank account should finally match. Bank account, to balance brought down is wrong. Realization account 25,000. By selling the assets, they have got 25,000. A has brought 10,000, amount equal to his realization loss. B has brought 10,000, amount equal to his realization loss, whereas C's estate could contribute only 2,000. Realization expenses, they have paid 5,000. Creditors, they have paid 12,000. Now, A's and B's capital account balances, we have transferred it to bank. A 18,276, B 11,724. After transferring this, your bank account should match. Under fluctuating capital method, balance brought down A and B, by balance brought down. In case of C, 2 balance brought down, realization loss has been distributed, profit and loss has been distributed. A and B have brought in cash equal to realization loss, whereas C's contribution is 2,000. C's balancing figure is 20,000, which is his insolvency, which shared by A and B in the ratio 3 is to 2 as per fluctuating capital method. 12,000, 8,000, which is to be debited to A's and B's capital account, 12,000 and 8,000. Balancing figure, you are supposed to close A's and B's account by transferring it to bank. This is balancing figure. Now your bank account should match. Realization account, by selling the assets, they have got 25,000. A has contributed 10,000. His realization loss. B has brought in 10,000. His realization loss. C could contribute only 2,000. Credit side, realization expenses, they have made payment to creditors and 18,000 and 12,000 balancing figure of capital account. So your bank account should match. It is matching. If all the partners are insolvent, since all partners are insolvent, creditors cannot expect to be paid in full. In such a case, sundry creditors should not be transferred to realization account. Cash in hand together with the amount realized on sale of assets and surplus from private estate of partners, if any, less expenses will be applied in making payment to creditors. The balance of creditors account represent the deficiency to be borne by them, which is to be transferred to deficiency account. The balance of capital account should also be transferred to deficiency account to close the books. Alternatively, deficiency to be borne by creditors may be directly adjusted in between creditors account and capital accounts. If all the partners are insolvent, then creditors account or any other liability account you are supposed to open right there as by balance brought down, opening balances. And whatever cash is available, it is to be distributed to all the liabilities in their ratios. And balance will be transferred to deficiency account. Partners capital account also will get transferred to deficiency account. If all partners are insolvent, following entries are to be passed. To pay off the creditors, creditors account debit, total creditors to bank, amount paid to deficiency, amount unpaid. When deficiency is transferred, deficiency account debit to partners capital account. We'll see one question. Illustration 29. Balance sheet as at 30, 10, 13. Capital of P, Q and R is given. Bank loan is given. Sundry creditors, fixed assets and cash. Cash balance is 10,000. All partners were declared insolvent. Profit sharing ratio is 5 is to 3 is to 2. Assets realized 60,000. That means by selling fixed assets, they have got 60,000. Prepare ledger accounts to close the books of the firms. Now, as all partners are insolvent, you have to open loan account. Buy balance brought down 60,000. Open creditors account. Buy balance brought down 40,000. Open capital account of P, Q and R. Buy balance brought down 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. Open cash account. To balance brought down 10,000. Fixed assets to be transferred to realization account debit side. And by selling they have got 60,000. Now we'll see this. Realization account, two fixed assets, 1 lakh. Buy cash, by selling the assets, they have got 60,000. Now, loss is to be transferred to capital accounts P, Q, and R in their profit sharing ratio. Partners capital account P, Q, and R buy balance brought down 5,000, 3,000, 2,000. Realization loss transferred to realization 20,000, 12,000, 8,000. Now, balancing figure will get transferred to deficiency account. By deficiency account 15,000, 9,000, 6,000. See deficiency account, two partners capital accounts 15,000, 9,000 and 6,000. Now you have to open bank loan account and creditors account because all partners are insolvent. Bank buy balance, bank loan account buy balance brought down 60,000. Creditors account buy balance brought down 40,000. Cash account to balance brought down 10,000. By selling the assets, they have got 60,000 to realization 60,000. So they have only 70,000 which is to be used for paying bank loan and creditors in their ratio. Ratio is 60,000 is to 40,000. That is 3 is to 2. So this 70,000 is to be used for paying loan and creditors in the ratio 3 is to 2. 70,000 in the ratio 3 is to 2. By bank loan 40,000. By creditors 28,000. Go to bank loan to deficiency account 18,000. This is balancing figure. To cash 42,000. Just now we have seen. Creditors account to deficiency 12,000. This is balancing figure. And cash account 28,000. See this. Creditors cash. Now transfer this to deficiency account. Your deficiency account will match. See deficiency account. We have transferred this capital balances. Now loan account 18,000. Creditors account 12,000. Deficiency account is matching. Now we'll see some few important points. When a partner brings premium, that is goodwill, for a fixed term of period when he gets admitted into the partnership firm and the firm gets dissolved. Return of premium, that is goodwill, to a partner on dissolution before expiry of the term. Conditions: a partner was admitted in a partnership for a fixed term period. He has been given admission in the partnership for a fixed period of time, that is 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever may be. such a partner had paid a premium for goodwill at the time of admission. He must have paid premium at the time of admission and partnership firm has dissolved. Then only he will get back the sum of the premium amount on the dissolution before expiry of the term. Exceptions: the partner will not be entitled to any claim under any of the following conditions. The firm is dissolved due to death of a partner. If firm is dissolved because of death of a partner, he will not get any premium back. The dissolution is due to misconduct of the partner claiming the refund. If the dissolution is because of misconduct of the partner who is claiming, he will not get the amount back. The dissolution is in pursuance of agreement containing no provision for return of premium or any part of it. If there is any agreement entered into at the time of admission that no premium will be returned to him in case of dissolution, then he will not get back anything. Amount of refund: the amount to be repaid will be determined having regard to the terms upon which the admission was made and to the length of period agreed upon and period that has expired. Liability of other partners: the amount of refund payable shall be borne by other partners in their profit sharing ratio. Now we'll see illustration 30. X was admitted into partnership for 5 years, for which he paid a premium of rupees 1,20,000. He was admitted for fixed period of time, which is 5 years, and he has paid premium also, which is 1,20,000. After 39 months, the partnership firm was dissolved due to misconduct of Mr. Z. There is dissolution of the firm because of misconduct of Z and not misconduct of X. So he is entitled to get his premium back, proportionate amount of premium. Another partner of the firm. So another partner of the firm Z, because of his misconduct, firm got dissolved. Y being third partner, that means there are three partners, X, Y and Z. Profit sharing ratio is of X, Y and Z is 5 is to 3 is to 2. X is entitled to claim the refund premium paid at the time of admission. Refund of premium paid at the time of admission, since the admission was for a fixed period of time and the firm is getting dissolved due to misconduct of Z, another partner of the firm. So amount of refund is equal to total premium paid into unexpired term of partnership divided by total term of partnership. Total premium paid is 1,20,000. Unexpired term of partnership, he has been admitted for 5 years, that means 60 months. 12 into 5 is 60. After 39 months, partnership firm was dissolved. So remaining period is 60 months minus 39 months is equal to 21 months. He has paid premium for 60 months. Now firm has dissolved. So remaining 21 months premium he is supposed to get back. 1,20,000 into 21 divided by 60. He is supposed to get back 42,000, which will be shared by partners Y and Z in their profit sharing ratio 3 is to 2. So journal entry for the same is Y capital account debit 25,200, Z capital account debit 16,800 to X capital account 42,000. This is in the ratio 3 is to 2. Being premium paid during admission, now refunded to X after adjusting capital of another partners. In this particular video, we have seen dissolution of a firm, insolvency of partners, including a case where all partners are insolvent. Thank you.